done some car chat in a while, but I just drove past the mechanic shop that has my car presently. So let me tell you a little story. On June 11th of last year, 2024, my 2019 Kia Forte stopped working. We put a scanner on it because I thought maybe it was the fuel pump, but we put the scanner on it, and the computer was giving off codes for the crankshaft positioning sensors, the camshaft sensor, the variable valve timing solenoids, and the timing chain itself. So I called up my girlfriend Devin to find out if her husband Scott could take my car and fix it for me, because it was very apparent that it was a timing issue. But my car being a Kia, and a newer Kia at that, with, I think it has something like 157,000 miles on it, which is interesting to me because when my Equinox needed a new motor, it also had about 150,000 miles on it. Anyway, I digress. So Scott put it on his big computer, diagnosed it exactly the same as what we got on our little handheld scanner, and he at that point had just lost all of his mechanics. It was just him running his shop, so he was pretty much only able to do like oil changes and inspections at the time, so he needed me to take it somewhere else because he had no idea when he was going to be able to get to it. He also told me it was going to cost me about $2,500 to get it fixed. Okay, so anyway, we called somebody who I thought was a friend at the time to take it. This man used to live next door to me when I was living with my grandmother and the kids were little bitty, and then he moved to the neighborhood that I'm in now, just right around the corner, and he'd done a bunch of work for me in the past. Like, I had a 98 Chevy Suburban that I needed to replace the fuel injector on, so I pretty much had to take the whole motor apart, and I did this work myself, but he helped me, so I had to take the whole top end of the motor off to get to the fuel injector, replace the fuel injectors, put the motor back together, but because of the year that it was, there was a little bit more electronic stuff to it, and it needed to be put on a computer and reset. Anyway, he helped us with that. He replaced the windshield wiper motor in my Equinox when the motor went. He replaced the heater coil on the Equinox when that went. He did a bunch of work to my Dodge Ram when I had my Ram. Like, this guy did a bunch of work for me, and I thought I could trust him. So I gave him my car, and it took him 8 months to tell me that it needed a new motor. He ordered the motor, and it was an additional 5 months before the motor even showed up. And all along, he was trying to re-diagnose the problem. He was telling me a whole bunch of shit that had nothing to do with the timing, etc., etc. Anyway, long story short, I ended up back in the beginning of July taking him to court because I needed my car back. I needed to take it to somebody that was going to actually fix it. I paid for the new motor, therefore I expected the work to be done, but anyway, he wouldn't give me my car. He was holding my car hostage. Said I owed him a ludicrous amount of money. I ended up winning in court. The magistrate essentially said that whatever money you think that she owes you, you're going to have to take her to court for later, but right now you need to give her her vehicle. So about a week later, I was able to get my hands on a tow truck and get my car back to Scott. It's been, today's the 9th, so it's been almost 6 weeks Scott's had my car, and he's run into issues with it as well. The mechanic who was holding my car hostage had received the wrong motor for my vehicle. My car is a 6-speed manual transmission. He received an automatic transmission motor and didn't even look at the motor, and just had the motor sitting there for like a month and a half and never looked at it, nothing. And we ended up having to do an exchange, which was a pain in the ass in itself, because Scott does not have an account with the company that Jim had ordered the motor through. It's not even a brand new motor, it's a salvage motor from a wreck. But anyway, long story short, we now have the right motor, and the right motor came on Wednesday this past week. But I was informed by his office manager that she wasn't going to be able to get the motor in, or not the motor, she wasn't going to be able to put the car back in the garage until the 18th, because she had already booked a spot in the garage for my car for like the last 2 weeks. And when that motor never showed up and the motor was wrong, it was they were having a scramble to get work into the garage, so she was told not to schedule it again until the actual motor showed up, and it was going to be the 18th. You know, and I just replied back to her with a big sad face sticker, like I think it was an ugly crying emoji or something like that, and she was like, you know, told me the story about how she had it scheduled for the last 2 weeks and blah, blah, blah. I was like, look, I understand. I totally get it. I understand that, you know, we've been having to deal with a fuck up from somebody who royally screwed up altogether, and you guys are doing the best that you can under the, you know, your given circumstances. This is totally a me problem. I had made plans to do XYZ starting next week, and now I'm just not going to be able to do it. And one of those things was my mom, when she was down here, she purchased a standard poodle puppy from a local breeder. She was originally going to take one of my German Shepherd pups, but my German Shepherd's, my bitch does not like my mom, never has liked my mom since she was like 3 months old. Still hates my mom to this day. I guess that energy carried over to the puppies, and the puppies, when she met them, didn't want anything to do with her. So she decided, she had found a standard poodle breeder right here locally to my area, and she purchased a puppy. And my brother actually is going to be picking that puppy up tomorrow and meeting her halfway, probably in Salisbury, Maryland, or Dover, Delaware, to make the exchange. So anyway, that, and then my birthday is 2 weeks from today, and I wanted to go to Busch Gardens because it's only like an hour and a half from where I live, and you know, with the car going in the shop on the 18th, that probably wasn't going to be able to happen either. Well, anyway, long story short, again, I drove past Scott's shop this morning, and my car has been parked under the billboard in the parking lot. It's not there anymore. And I was just thinking about how when we release expectations, we allow that stuck, stagnant energy to move. And I had released everything when I told Scott and Devin that, you know, I understood that they were doing the best that they could given the circumstances. But I had made plans. What do they say? We make plans and God laughs. Right? But anyway, I released the expectation that my car was going to be done this week, and fully expecting it to be done in 2 weeks, but no plans will be made until I get my car back. Anyway, the car's in the garage. So I don't know if they moved it into the garage because they had a long weekend coming up, or if they moved it into the garage because somebody's going to be working on it this weekend so they can get it out of there. But either way, when we release expectations, we allow the energy to free itself up so it can move in a forward direction again. That's a chariot. It's the chariot. So anyway, if you feel like you're in a situation where you feel like you're stuck, try letting go of the expectations that you have on that situation. Let them go. Free the energy up. Alright, so I'm still riding on this Lionsgate energy, and love you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.